So how do you create a good presentation? I'm glad you asked. Well, if you want to create a good presentation, you need a good closing. A good closing is important to a good presentation. When you wrap it up, you don't want to end on Q&A. Please don't. That's the worst closing. Well, that's the second to worst closing. The worst closing is when you put up a slide that says thank you. Like, really? You needed a slide to say thank you? You couldn't just look at the audience and say thank you? But doing Q&A at the end of your presentation is horrible. The reason is you're at the mercy of your audience's questions. So if they ask horrible questions or they have none, now you kind of look a little silly at the end. So what I suggest is have your one main point, and it's okay to do Q&A, you just don't end on Q&A. So have your Q&A, but before you do the Q&A, you set it up by saying, and I've got one main point that will really help you in this area. But first, before I get to that, let's take some questions. So now what that does is sometimes as soon as you go to Q&A, especially in the corporate world, people are like, oh, okay, it's done, thank you. They get their books and they leave. So now that you planted that seed that there's one important element left before you close, now they're going to stick around for that. That way, if there's horrible questions, it's okay because you end on power. So let me give you an example of a good closing.
We're all going to move forward and try and reach a point, but we're going to reach a point headed to our goals where we get stuck and we can't move. But we're so afraid of that ouch, we forget that if we lean forward and take a risk and fall on our face, we still made progress. Go ahead and fall. Fall forward.
So that's an example of a good closing. But that closing helped reinforce my main point, which is that if you're willing to fail, you can fall forward and learn anything. So now you might not want to fall in your presentation. I don't necessarily recommend it because it's got to make sense with your speech. But what can you do that leaves impact and leaves your audience thinking? My coach, Patricia Fripp, said, your last words linger. So take some time. If you're going to have a good presentation, you need a good closing, and you want to end on something that's thought-provoking, not something as simple as, thank you, it's an honor to be here. Ugh! So have a good presentation, have a good closing. If you want to know more about how to put together a powerful presentation, check out my program. Oh crap, I have to give a presentation. And I'll show you specifically step by step how to put that together. I have it in DVD form or online university. Check it out.